Sometimes the past comes back to destroy you. Sometimes you come back to destroy it. The evening sun casts long shadows across Memorial Park. A man sits quietly on a weathered bench, legal briefs spread across his lap. His fingers trace old scars on his left temple, a habit born from painful memories. 3 patrol cars pull up. Doors slam. Heavy footsteps crunch on gravel. What do we have here? Detective Rodriguez approaches with that familiar swagger, the same cruel confidence from years ago. The man's breath catches. He knows this voice, this walk, this predator's smile. Just reading, officer. He keeps his voice steady. His papers flutter in the evening breeze. Reading what? Drug deals? Gang codes? Rodriguez steps closer. His shadow falls across the documents. This is my park. I've kept it clean for years. The man touches his temple scar again. The metal handcuffs click shut around his wrists. Rodriguez grins wide. He has absolutely no idea what he just started. Rodriguez's voice triggers something deep and dark, the same mocking tone that echoed through this exact spot a decade ago, when a teenager lay broken and bleeding on this same concrete, when promises of justice turned to whispers of cover-ups. The man studies Rodriguez's face carefully. Every line, every cruel angle. Time has been kind to the detective. Promotions, commendations, a career built on buried secrets. Nice clothes for a park rat, Officer Brooks sneers, joining the circle. What's a guy like you doing in a place like this? Remembering, the man says quietly. Rodriguez yanks him to his feet. The expensive suit jacket tears slightly. Legal documents scatter across the ground like fallen leaves. A business card catches the wind. Uppity attitude won't help you here. Rodriguez's grip tightens. This isn't your neighborhood anymore. The man remains perfectly calm. His eyes never leave Rodriguez's face. I know exactly who you are, Detective Rodriguez. Rodriguez freezes. His confident smirk wavers. How do you know my name? The same way I know about your gambling debts, your excessive force complaints, your pattern of planting evidence. Each word hits like a precision strike. The same way I know what you did to that kid here 10 years ago. Brooks shifts nervously. Tony, what's he talking about? Rodriguez's face hardens. Fear flickers behind his eyes before anger takes over. Search him. Thoroughly. The man's wrist shows an old hospital bracelet scar when the handcuffs bite deep. A thin white line that tells a story Rodriguez forgot he wrote. The detective's hands shake slightly as he pats down the suspect. Found something. Rodriguez holds up a small plastic bag. Well, well. Looks like our scholar here likes his powder. The man doesn't resist, doesn't protest. He simply watches Rodriguez with the patience of someone who's waited a very long time for this moment. See you Monday morning, Detective, he says softly. Under very different circumstances. Rodriguez's blood runs cold. How does this stranger know about Monday's court schedule? Rodriguez keys his radio with trembling fingers. Dispatch, I need backup at Memorial Park. Suspect has personal information on officers. Possible surveillance target. The response crackles back immediately. Units en route, Detective. Surveillance target? The man raises an eyebrow. Is that what you're calling it now? Shut up. Rodriguez paces in tight circles. His confidence bleeds away with each passing second. This arrest felt routine 5 minutes ago. Now it feels like walking into quicksand. Sergeant Brooks arrives first, her patrol car sliding to a stop on loose gravel. She's Rodriguez's insurance policy. 20 years on the force. Zero tolerance for questions. Her loyalty runs deep, and her memory runs shallow. What's the situation, Tony? Caught him casing the park. Knows my name, my schedule, has drugs on him. Saul Rodriguez gestures at the planted evidence. Claims he knows about Monday's proceedings. Brooks studies the suspect with cold eyes. He sits calmly on the bench, hands cuffed behind his back. His torn jacket reveals an expensive watch. His shoes cost more than most cops make in a week. You got ID? Brooks demands. The man nods toward his jacket pocket. Inside pocket. Left side. Rodriguez reaches in and pulls out a leather wallet, hand-stitched, Italian. The kind of accessory that screams serious money. Inside, business cards nestle next to credit cards with heavy weight limits. What do we have here? Rodriguez reads the card aloud. Honorable Samuel Morrison, District Court Judge. He laughs harshly. Real original, buddy. Fake judge cards? Brooks snatches the card. The judicial seal catches streetlight. Deep embossing. Professional printing. If it's fake, it's an expensive fake. These are getting better, she mutters. Another wannabe lawyer thinking credentials will save him. I'd like my phone call now, the man says quietly. You'll get your call when we say you get your call. Brooks crumples the business card. The expensive cardstock protests before giving way. After we verify these bogus credentials, they're not bogus. Sure they're not. Rodriguez laughs again. Every drug dealer's a judge these days. Every gangbanger's a lawyer. What's next? Claiming you're the mayor? The man memorizes Rodriguez's badge number, Brooks's patrol car license plate, the timestamp on Brooks's body camera. Every detail matters now. Every piece of evidence will count. Big corruption trial starts Monday, Brooks mentions casually to Rodriguez. Whole department's on edge. Can't have suspicious characters lurking around. The man's eyes sharpen. Which corruption trial would that be, Sergeant? Brooks freezes. She never mentioned her rank. How does he know? Lucky guess, Rodriguez covers quickly. Everybody knows we're cleaning house. 2 more patrol cars arrive. Officers spill out like they're responding to an active shooter. 4 cops for 1 man in handcuffs. The response seems excessive until you remember what they think they're protecting. Officer Chen approaches with an evidence bag. Young, eager, still believes the system works the way it's supposed to. What do you need, Sergeant? Bag this. Brooks hands him the crumpled business card. Evidence of identity fraud. Chen smooths out the card. His expression changes as he reads it. Sergeant, this looks real. The seal, the embossing, It's fake, Chen. Book him for drugs, identity fraud, and resisting arrest. I haven't resisted anything, the man points out calmly. You reached for my weapon, Rodriguez lies smoothly. When I was searching you. Aggressive movement toward my service pistol. The other officers nod automatically. They've heard this story before. They know their roles in this theater. Chen hesitates. Something feels wrong about this arrest. The suspect's calm demeanor, his expensive clothes, his detailed knowledge of department procedures. Real criminals don't act like this. Load him up, Brooks orders. Transport to central booking. They guide him toward Rodriguez's patrol car. The same vehicle that took him to the hospital a decade ago. Different license plate. Same department. Same system. Same lies. The car door slams shut. Through bulletproof glass, he watches Rodriguez and Brooks conference in hushed tones. Their body language screams panic masked as procedure. The radio crackles as they drive through empty streets. Central booking, incoming transport. 1 adult male, multiple charges. The man closes his eyes and listens to the city pass by. Sirens in the distance. Traffic humming on distant highways. The sound of a system that never sleeps and rarely learns. His fingerprints will tell a story in about an hour. Federal background checks don't lie. Database flags don't disappear because cops plant evidence. Rodriguez drives with white knuckles gripping the steering wheel. In the rearview mirror, he studies his passenger. Something about those eyes bothers him. Patient, knowing, like someone who's waited a very long time for this exact moment. "Booking's going to be interesting," the man says quietly from the back seat. Rodriguez doesn't respond, but his hands shake slightly as he parks outside the station. The fingerprint scanner will beep red in 47 minutes. A federal alert will appear on someone's screen, and Rodriguez's world will begin its long, inevitable collapse. Central booking smells like disinfectant and desperation. Fluorescent lights buzz overhead like angry insects. The processing room has seen thousands of arrests, most legitimate, some manufactured. Tonight's falls into the second category. Rodriguez escorts his prisoner through steel doors that lock automatically. The sound echoes through concrete corridors. Final, permanent, the kind of sound that ends careers and destroys lives. "Empty your pockets," Officer Martinez orders from behind bulletproof glass. She's processed drug dealers all night. One more won't make a difference. The man complies silently. Wallet, keys, a Mont Blanc pen that costs more than Martinez makes in a month. She catalogs each item with practiced efficiency. Jacket off. Rodriguez helps remove the torn suit jacket. His hands discover something in the inner pocket, something that wasn't there during the park search. Well. Rodriguez pulls out a small plastic baggie, white powder nestled inside. "Look what our judge forgot to mention." The man doesn't react. No surprise, no protest, no desperate denials. His calm unnerves everyone in the room. "That wasn't there before," he states simply. "Right, it magically appeared." Rodriguez holds the bag up to the light. "Just like your fake credentials magically materialized." Martinez takes photos, evidence documentation, chain of custody, everything by the book. Except the book was written by people who never planned on being caught. "Fingerprints next," she announces. The digital scanner waits like a patient oracle. It connects to databases Rodriguez has never heard of, federal systems with long memories and longer reach. The man places his right thumb on the scanner. Electronic beep, data transmission. Somewhere in Washington, servers begin cross-referencing. Index finger. Another beep. Another data packet shooting through cyberspace toward destinations Rodriguez can't imagine. "This is taking forever," Brooks mutters. She wants this arrest processed and forgotten. Quick booking, fast paperwork, buried in the system before anyone asks uncomfortable questions. The scanner finishes its work. Data streams to multiple agencies: FBI, Federal Marshals, Administrative Office of Courts, Homeland Security. Each database adds another layer to a profile Rodriguez wishes he'd never created. Mugshot time. The camera flash illuminates a face Rodriguez should remember. 10 years ago, this same face was 17, swollen, bleeding, barely conscious on park concrete. Tonight, it's composed, professional, dangerous. The photo joins thousands of others in the system. But this one will become evidence in federal court. Exhibit A in a civil rights case that will destroy careers and expose decades of corruption. "Cell assignment," Martinez reads from her screen. "Block C, cell 12. The walk down the corridor feels like a funeral march. Their footsteps echo off painted cinder blocks. Each step brings Rodriguez closer to a reckoning he doesn't yet understand. Cell 12 has housed murderers, rapists, drug kingpins. Tonight it holds a federal judge whose only crime was sitting in the wrong park at the wrong time. Or maybe the right park at the right time, depending on your perspective. The door clangs shut with metallic finality. Steel bars between justice and injustice, between truth and lies, between past and future. "Enjoy your stay," Rodriguez sneers through the bars. "Hope those fake credentials keep you warm." The man sits on the narrow bunk. Springs creak under his weight. 10 years ago, he lay in a hospital bed with tubes and wires keeping him alive. Tonight, he waits in a jail cell while digital systems expose the men who put him in both places. Detective Wong requested to interview this suspect, Martinez mentions to Rodriguez. Something about federal flags in the system. Rodriguez's confident smirk wavers. What kind of flags? Didn't say. Just said she'd handle the interview personally. The man smiles for the first time tonight. Detective Ashley Wong, Internal Affairs, the one honest cop in a corrupt department, the one person who might actually read those federal alerts. Rodriguez walks away with heavy footsteps. His radio crackles with routine calls, domestic disturbances, traffic stops, normal police work done by normal police officers. He's no longer normal. He's a federal target who doesn't know he's been painted. The fingerprint scanner beeps red at exactly 11:47 p.m. An alert appears on Detective Wong's computer screen. Federal flagged individual. Immediate attention required. Detective Ashley Wong stares at her computer screen in the empty Internal Affairs office. The federal alert blinks red like a warning beacon. Her coffee grows cold as she reads the impossible information scrolling across her monitor. Samuel Morrison, Federal District Court Judge, appointed 3 years ago. Highest security clearance. Background check sealed by federal order. She cross-references the booking photo with judicial databases. Same face, same name. Same person Rodriguez just arrested for drug possession and identity fraud. This can't be right, she whispers to empty air. But the computers don't lie. The federal databases don't make mistakes. Judge Samuel Morrison sits in cell 12 while Detective Rodriguez sleeps peacefully in his suburban home, dreaming of commendations and promotions. Wong pulls up Rodriguez's personnel file. 15 years on the force, 67 excessive force complaints, 48 filed and forgotten, 19 settled quietly, 0 prosecutions. The pattern emerges like storm clouds on radar. Young black men, isolated locations, planted evidence, witnesses who disappear or change their stories. A system that protects its own and destroys everyone else. Her phone buzzes. Text message from Officer Maria Santos. Can't sleep. Something felt wrong about tonight's arrest. Wong dials Santos immediately. What do you mean wrong? Rodriguez seemed too eager, too prepared, like he knew exactly what he'd find in that jacket pocket. Santos speaks in hushed tones from her apartment, and the suspect knew things, personal things about Rodriguez's career. What kind of things? Gambling debts. Internal complaints. Stuff that's not public record. Santos pauses. Ma'am, I think Rodriguez planted that evidence. Wong already suspected. Santos just confirmed. Meet me at the station. 20 minutes. At this hour? Trust me, Officer Santos. This can't wait until morning. Wong returns to her computer. The corruption files fill 3 digital folders. Rodriguez appears in 70% of questionable arrests over the past 5 years. Always small amounts of drugs. Always suspects who fit a specific profile. Always the same pattern of escalation. The federal alert includes a phone number. Emergency contact for threats against federal judiciary. Wong memorizes the digits before dialing. Federal Marshal Service, emergency line. This is Detective Wong, Internal Affairs, Central Division. We have a federal judge in custody under suspicious circumstances. Silence. Then rapid typing on keyboards, multiple voices conferring in the background. Judge Morrison? You know about this? We've been monitoring. Automated systems flagged his arrest an hour ago. Are you the investigating officer? Wong realizes she's stepped into something much larger than police corruption. I can be. Consider yourself federally deputized for this investigation. Do not discuss this with local command structure. Do not alert the arresting officers. Document everything. The line goes dead. Wong stares at her phone. In 30 seconds, her career just became infinitely more complicated and dangerous. Santos arrives looking nervous. Young officer, 3 years on the force, still believes the badge means something beyond protection and power. "Show me the booking evidence," Wong orders. They review the arrest report together. Rodriguez's handwriting tells a careful story. Suspicious behavior, aggressive posturing, discovery of controlled substances during routine search. "This reads like a template," Santos observes. "Same language he used in the Miller arrest and the Jackson case." Wong pulls those files. Santos is right. Identical phrasing. Copy and paste police work. The kind of lazy corruption that eventually exposes itself. "Look at this." Santos points to the evidence photos. The baggy position in his jacket. It's sitting on top of everything else, like it was placed there recently. Wong enhances the digital image. The plastic bag shows no wear patterns, no pocket lint, no evidence of extended carrying. Fresh placement by experienced hands. "Rodriguez has gambling debts," Santos continues. "Heard him on the phone with someone yesterday. Sounded desperate. Talking about needing to produce results to keep his extra income." Extra income. Wong knows that phrase. Off-duty security work, private investigations, sometimes legal, often not. Always lucrative for cops willing to bend rules. Her computer chimes with new information. Federal background check complete. Judge Morrison's sealed history unlocks for authorized investigators. The file contains a medical record from 10 years ago. Memorial Hospital, emergency admission, victim of assault, multiple fractures, internal bleeding. Critical condition for 6 days. The attending officer's report lists Detective Anthony Rodriguez as first responder. His statement describes finding an unconscious teenager in Memorial Park. No witnesses, no suspects. Case closed due to lack of evidence. Wong's blood turns to ice. Same park, same detective, same pattern of violence, 10 years apart. Santos, did Rodriguez mention anything about the arrest location? Said he'd kept Memorial Park clean for years. Seemed personal to him. Wong prints the medical records. The victim's injuries paint a picture of sustained brutality. Boot prints on ribs, defensive wounds on hands and forearms, trauma consistent with extended beating. The victim's name, Samuel Morrison, age 17. "Jesus Christ," Wong breathes. "What is it?" Rodriguez just arrested the same person he tried to kill 10 years ago. Wong gathers the files with shaking hands, and that person is now a federal judge. Santos goes pale. "What do we do?" "We document everything. We protect the evidence, and we pray Rodriguez doesn't realize what he's done before federal authorities take control." Wong's phone rings. Unknown number. Federal area code. "Detective Wong, this is Assistant U.S. Attorney Catherine Mills. I understand you're investigating the Morrison arrest." "Yes, ma'am." "How quickly can you secure all evidence related to this case?" Wong looks at Santos, sees determination replacing fear in the young officer's eyes. "Already in progress." "Good." Judge Morrison has a trial scheduled Monday morning, a corruption case involving local law enforcement. Several defendants match your arrest team. The pieces fall into place like dominoes. Rodriguez isn't just corrupt, he's a target. And he just arrested the judge who'll decide his fate. "We need to keep this quiet until Monday," Mills continues. "Can you manage that?" Wong nods, then remembers she's on the phone. "Understood." "One more thing, Detective. Judge Morrison specifically requested that you handle his interrogation. Seems he knows about your reputation for integrity." The call ends. Wong stares at the phone. In 6 hours, she'll face the man Rodriguez tried to murder. The teenager who survived brutality has become the judge who'll deliver justice. Santos breaks the silence. "We're really doing this?" Wong locks the files in her desk. evidence that will destroy careers and expose decades of corruption. We're really doing this. Wong makes her second encrypted call at 2:17 a.m. Federal systems activate across 3 time zones. Bureaucracy moves slowly during business hours. At night, with federal judges involved, it moves like lightning. U.S. Marshal Northern District. This is Detective Wong, Internal Affairs, confirming Judge Morrison's protective custody status. Confirmed, we have units mobilizing. How secure is your location? Wong glances around the empty station. Skeleton crew, night shift. Rodriguez went home hours ago, confident in his arrest. Secure for now. Maintain status quo until 0800. Do not alter prisoner routine. Do not alert command structure. The phone clicks dead. Wong realizes federal authorities have been planning this response for hours, maybe days. Judge Morrison's arrest wasn't random bad luck. It was the final piece of a larger investigation. Across town, Judge Morrison's court clerk receives an automated alert on her home computer. Judicial absence notification. Honorable Samuel Morrison, required court prep session missed. Margaret Chen has worked for Judge Morrison for 2 years. He's never missed a preparation session, never been late for court, never failed to review case files before major trials. She dials his personal number. Voicemail. She dials his home number. No answer. She dials his emergency contact number. Federal Marshal Service, how may I direct your call? Margaret hangs up, suddenly understanding that whatever's happening is much bigger than a missed appointment. At Central Booking, Officer Martinez processes routine paperwork. Drunk and disorderly, domestic violence, car theft, standard Saturday night arrests. She doesn't notice the federal alert blinking on her secondary monitor. The alert escalates automatically after 30 minutes of inactivity. Regional dispatch receives priority notification. Federal oversight activates emergency protocols. Wong plants a digital recording device in interview room 3. Standard internal affairs equipment. Voice activated. Federally admissible. The kind of evidence that survives appeals and destroys careers. Her computer chimes with new information. Monday's court docket loads automatically. Case 2025 CR 4847. United States versus Rodriguez, Brooks, Martinez, and others. Corruption. Civil rights violations. Conspiracy. Judge Morrison will preside over the trial of the officers who just arrested him. The irony would be funny if it weren't so dangerous. Wong's radio crackles with routine night shift communications. Traffic stops. Noise complaints. The ordinary business of policing that continues while extraordinary events unfold in the shadows. Officer Santos texts from the evidence locker. All items secured, photos complete, chain of custody documented. Wong responds immediately. Good work. Report for interview room prep at 0700. The federal database updates in real time. Judge Morrison's arrest generates automatic notifications to 17 different agencies. Each one adds another layer of oversight to Rodriguez's rapidly shrinking world. At 3:45 a.m., a federal prosecutor in Washington receives an emergency briefing packet. Judge Morrison's case, Rodriguez's history. The corruption trial scheduled for Monday morning. She makes her own encrypted call. Fast-track the warrant applications. We need surveillance authority by dawn. Wong reviews the timeline one final time. Monday 9 a.m. Courtroom 7. Judge Morrison presiding over Rodriguez's corruption trial. Assuming Rodriguez doesn't realize his mistake before then. The federal net tightens around Central Division like a closing fist. Silent. Invisible. Inevitable. Rodriguez sleeps soundly in his suburban bed. In 4 hours, his overtime shift begins. The interview that will end his career. Interview room 3 smells like stale coffee and broken dreams. The fluorescent light flickers overhead, casting nervous shadows on gray walls. Judge Morrison sits calmly at the metal table, hands folded. His torn suit jacket has been replaced with standard orange detention clothing. Rodriguez enters with false confidence. Wong follows, carrying thick case files. Her hidden recording device activates automatically. "Let's make this simple," Rodriguez begins. "Admit to the drug possession. Confess to the identity fraud. Make everyone's morning easier." Morrison studies Rodriguez's face with clinical precision. "You don't remember me at all, do you?" "Should I?" Rodriguez leans back in his chair. "You all look the same to me after a while." Wong flinches at the casual racism. Her recording device captures every word. Memorial Park, 10 years ago. 17-year-old kid, beaten unconscious. Morrison's voice remains steady. "Ring any bells, detective?" Rodriguez's confident smirk wavers. "I respond to a lot of calls. Can't remember every drunk teenager." "Not drunk. Honor student." Walking home from the library, Morrison continues his methodical recitation. Someone called in suspicious activity. Black male, approximately 6 feet tall, walking while black in a nice neighborhood. "If you say so." "You arrived at 9:47 p.m., Patrol Unit 247. Your partner was Officer James Walsh. He transferred to Phoenix 2 months later. Couldn't handle the guilt." Rodriguez's hands begin to shake. How does this man know classified case details? Morrison opens his hands, revealing old scars across his palms. "Defensive wounds, from trying to protect my face while you and Walsh took turns with your batons." "You're confusing me with someone else." "Badge number 4458. You wore it that night. You wear it now." Morrison's eyes never leave Rodriguez's face. "You broke 3 of my ribs, ruptured my spleen, left me for dead on the same bench where you arrested me tonight." Wong scribbles notes furiously. Each detail Morrison provides matches the old case file, details only the victim would know. "This is ridiculous," Rodriguez protests. "Pure fantasy." "Hospital records show I was admitted at 11:23 p.m. Critical condition. Your report states you found an unconscious male at 11:45 p.m., 22 minutes after I was already in surgery." Rodriguez's face goes white. The timeline discrepancy. He never noticed it before. "You falsified the discovery time to create an alibi," Morrison continues. "Gave yourself time to dispose of evidence. Clean blood off your uniform. Coordinate stories with Walsh." "That's impossible. You can't know." "I can't know what? That you threw my backpack in the river? That you planted a knife near my body? That you told Walsh the nigger kid attacked you first?" The racial slur hangs in the air like poison gas. Rodriguez's training taught him to deny everything, but his guilty conscience screams confessions. Wong watches Rodriguez crumble in real time. Sweat beads on his forehead. His leg bounces nervously under the table. Classic signs of a suspect breaking under pressure. "None of this matters," Rodriguez rallies weakly. "Even if what you're saying is true, statute of limitations ran out years ago." Morrison smiles coldly. "Civil rights violations have no statute of limitations. Neither does attempted murder. Neither does conspiracy." "Conspiracy?" "Brooks was your supervisor then. She's your supervisor now. She buried the investigation 10 years ago. She's covering for you tonight." Morrison leans forward. "Same corruption, same players, same crimes." Rodriguez fumbles for his radio. "I need backup in interview 3. "Why?" Wong asks innocently. "Having trouble with one man in handcuffs?" He's making threats. Claiming knowledge of classified information. "Classified?" Morrison laughs quietly. "Like your gambling debts to Tony Marconi? Like your monthly payments for protection from internal affairs investigations? Like your side business planting evidence for defense attorneys?" Rodriguez's radio slips from his trembling fingers. How does this man know about Marconi? About the protection payments? About the planted evidence scheme? "I want a lawyer," Rodriguez whispers. "You should probably get a good one. Morrison agrees. You're going to need federal representation. Wong stands suddenly. Detective Rodriguez, you're needed in the corridor. Emergency call. Rodriguez stumbles toward the door, desperate to escape Morrison's knowing stare. See you Monday morning, Detective, Morrison calls after him. Under very different circumstances. Rodriguez freezes in the doorway. Monday morning. The corruption trial. The federal courthouse. What happens Monday? He asks weakly. Morrison adjusts his orange jumpsuit like it's judicial robes. Justice. Federal marshals arrive at dawn like silent ghosts. Black SUVs, unmarked sedans, men in suits who don't explain themselves to local police. Release the prisoner, the lead marshal orders Martinez at the booking desk. On whose authority? Federal Judicial Protection Protocols. He slides official paperwork across bulletproof glass. Immediate release. No questions. Martinez reads the federal court order. Judge Morrison's name appears in bold letters. Official seals. Signatures she can't verify but doesn't dare challenge. Rodriguez watches from the break room as his carefully constructed arrest dissolves. Federal agents escort Morrison through steel doors that lead to freedom instead of prosecution. This is temporary, Brooks assures Rodriguez. Administrative overreach. They can't just take our prisoner, but they can, and they do. Morrison emerges into Sunday morning sunlight wearing his torn suit jacket. Federal agents return his wallet, keys, and Mont Blanc pen. No apologies, no explanations, just swift, silent efficiency. The media waits outside, cameras and reporters who somehow learned about a federal judge's arrest. Morrison walks past them without comment. His silence speaks louder than any statement. Rodriguez and Brooks receive identical envelopes an hour later. Administrative review pending. Report to Internal Affairs Monday 0800. Standard bureaucratic language that means their careers just entered critical condition. They can't prove anything, Rodriguez mutters over coffee that tastes like desperation. His word against ours. Brooks nods automatically, but her confidence cracks like old paint. Federal attention means federal investigations. Federal investigations mean federal prosecutions. Federal prosecutions mean federal prison. Morrison spends Sunday in his chambers, reviewing case files for Monday's trial. United States versus Rodriguez, Brooks, Martinez, and others. The corruption case that's consumed 2 years of his judicial career. The irony satisfies him in ways revenge never could. His law clerk Margaret arrives with fresh coffee and nervous questions. Judge, are you all right? The news reports are accurate, Morrison finishes. I was arrested. I was released. Monday's trial proceeds as scheduled. Margaret doesn't ask about federal marshals or internal affairs investigations. Some questions answer themselves. Morrison adjusts his black robes in Chambers' mirror. Tomorrow, Justice wears different clothes than tonight's orange jumpsuit. Rodriguez laughs off federal warnings to his wife over dinner. He won't be laughing Monday morning. The gavel waits patiently on Morrison's bench. Justice delayed, never denied. Monday morning breaks gray and cold over the federal courthouse. Rodriguez adjusts his dress uniform in the parking garage. Court testimony in corruption cases requires formal appearance. He straightens his tie, checks his badge, practices confident answers to prosecution questions. Today he's a witness. Tomorrow he expects to return to regular patrol duties. He has no idea he's walking into his own execution. Brooks meets him at the courthouse steps. Her confidence seems forced, brittle, like glass under pressure. Remember the story, she whispers. We followed procedure. The arrest was clean. Internal Affairs cleared us years ago. Rodriguez nods. The same lies that protected them for a decade. Why should today be different? They pass through metal detectors operated by federal marshals. The same men who released Morrison yesterday. The officers don't make eye contact. Professional courtesy. Nothing more. Courtroom 7 fills with reporters, federal prosecutors, and internal affairs investigators. The corruption trial everyone's been waiting for. 2 years of investigation. Dozens of victims. Mountains of evidence. Rodriguez takes his seat in the witness section. Brooks sits beside him. They're prosecution witnesses today. Next week they expect to return to normal duties. The bailiff's voice echoes through marble halls. All rise. The Honorable Judge Samuel Morrison presiding. Rodriguez stands automatically. Every courtroom veteran knows the drill. Rise for the judge. Show respect for the system. Maintain proper decorum. A figure in black robes enters through the judge's chamber's door. Rodriguez glances up casually, then freezes like he's been shot. The man in judicial robes is the same man he arrested Saturday night. The same man he interrogated Sunday morning. The same man he left bleeding in Memorial Park 10 years ago. Samuel Morrison, Federal District Court Judge. The teenager Rodriguez tried to murder has become the man who'll decide his fate. Rodriguez's legs give out. He collapses into his chair with a crash that echoes through the silent courtroom. Brooks grabs his arm, confused by his sudden panic. Tony, what's wrong? Rodriguez can't speak, can't breathe, can't process the impossible reality staring down at him from the judge's bench. Morrison adjusts his glasses and opens the case file. His voice carries absolute authority. United States versus Rodriguez, Brooks, Martinez, and others. Case number 2025 CR 4847. Are all parties present? The federal prosecutor stands. Yes, Your Honor. The government is ready to proceed. Defense attorneys mumble their readiness. Rodriguez's lawyer sits 3 rows behind him, reviewing notes for a case that just became infinitely more complicated. Morrison's eyes find Rodriguez in the witness section. Recognition passes between them like electricity. Predator and prey, past and present, crime and punishment. Before we begin, Morrison announces, I must address a potential conflict of interest. The courtroom holds its breath. Reporters lean forward. Federal prosecutors exchange worried glances. This past Saturday evening, I was arrested by Detective Anthony Rodriguez on charges of drug possession and identity fraud. Morrison's voice remains perfectly calm. I was interrogated by Detective Rodriguez and Sergeant Helen Brooks. I was detained overnight in central booking. Gasps echo through the courtroom. Rodriguez's face turns gray as old concrete. Morrison continues his methodical destruction. The charges were dropped after federal intervention confirmed my identity. However, the arrest itself provides crucial evidence in this corruption case. The lead prosecutor stands urgently. Your Honor, the government was unaware. Of course you weren't, Morrison interrupts, because Detective Rodriguez failed to mention that he'd arrested the presiding judge. Rather inconvenient for his testimony, wouldn't you say? Rodriguez's lawyer jumps up. Your Honor, we request immediate recusal. This creates obvious bias. Does it? Morrison's smile could cut glass. Let's examine the evidence before making that determination. Morrison signals the bailiff. Play Prosecution Exhibit 47, Saturday evening body cam footage. The courtroom screen illuminates with crystal-clear video. Rodriguez approaching Morrison in Memorial Park. The aggressive questioning, the planted evidence, the racial slurs, the unnecessary force. Rodriguez watches his career end in high definition. Note the timestamp, Morrison narrates. 21:34 hours. Detective Rodriguez plants evidence in my jacket pocket at 21:37 hours. Claims discovery of controlled substances at 21:39 hours. The footage doesn't lie. Every detail Morrison described in interrogation plays out on screen. The planted baggie, the false accusations, the pattern of corruption exposed frame by frame. Prosecution Exhibit 48, hospital records from 10 years ago. Medical documents fill the screen. Emergency admission. Victim, Samuel Morrison, age 17. Attending officer, Detective Anthony Rodriguez. Massive discrepancies in timeline and evidence. Notice the admission time versus the discovery time in Detective Rodriguez's report, Morrison continues. I was already in surgery when he claimed to find my unconscious body. Brooks whispers frantically to Rodriguez. How did he survive? We checked. The hospital said he died. Rodriguez realizes the depth of their mistake. They never followed up. Never confirmed. They assumed a beaten teenager would disappear into the system's cracks. Instead, he'd climbed out of those cracks and become the system. Prosecution Exhibit 49. Internal Affairs recordings from Sunday morning interrogation. Rodriguez's voice fills the courtroom. His denials, his panic, his admission of knowing details only the attacker would know. He's confessing, the prosecutor whispers to his assistant. On tape, to federal crimes. Morrison removes his glasses and looks directly at Rodriguez. Detective, you have something that belongs to me. What? Justice. I've been waiting 10 years to collect it. The evidence continues. Financial records showing Rodriguez's gambling debts, protection payments to avoid internal affairs scrutiny, a decade of planted evidence and false arrests, layer upon layer, building toward inevitable conclusion. Rodriguez's lawyer attempts damage control. Your Honor, my client requests immediate medical attention. He appears to be suffering cardiac distress. Rodriguez clutches his chest. Panic attack masquerading as heart attack. The cowards escape from consequences. Bailiff, call EMT, Morrison orders calmly. We'll recess until Detective Rodriguez is medically cleared to continue. As paramedics wheel Rodriguez toward the exit, Morrison's voice follows him. We'll resume tomorrow, Detective. I'm not going anywhere. The gavel falls with finality. Justice isn't revenge. It's the system working exactly as designed when corruption can't hide in shadows. Brooks sits alone in the witness section, watching her career burn around her. The teenage boy they'd tried to destroy had become the judge who'd destroy them. Some debts can only be paid with justice. Today, collection begins. Federal charges arrive like morning rain, inevitable, cleansing, each count reading like poetry to ears that have waited 10 years for justice. Rodriguez recovers from his panic attack in federal custody. No bail. Flight risk. The man who once wielded a badge now wears ankle monitors and orange jumpsuits. Brooks pleads guilty to conspiracy charges. 15 years of corruption condensed into a plea agreement that saves her from life imprisonment. She'll serve 8 years in federal prison. Time to reflect on the lives she helped destroy. Officer Martinez, the booking clerk who processed Morrison's arrest, receives immunity for testifying. Her detailed records of evidence tampering become prosecution gold. Sometimes survival requires choosing the right side of history. Detective Wong receives a federal commendation for integrity under pressure. Her recordings and documentation provide the foundation for comprehensive police reform. One honest cop can change an entire system. Officer Santos transfers to Internal Affairs. Young, dedicated, ready to rebuild trust between police and community. Her first case involves training recruits about constitutional rights and basic human dignity. The corruption trial expands beyond individual officers. Federal investigators uncover a network spanning 3 precincts, 2 judges, and 1 district attorney. Justice spreads like wildfire through a system that forgot its purpose. Morrison returns to Memorial Park on a quiet Tuesday evening. The same bench, the same shadows. But everything has changed. Children play on new playground equipment funded by federal settlement money. Their laughter echoes where screams once faded into silence. Families gather for evening picnics where violence once thrived in darkness. An elderly man approaches Morrison's bench. Gray hair, kind eyes, the weathered hands of someone who's worked hard for everything. Excuse me, aren't you that judge? The one from the news? Morrison nods. Yes, sir. My grandson was arrested by that Rodriguez fellow 2 years ago. planted drugs, ruined the boy's college scholarship. The man sits beside Morrison. We couldn't afford a lawyer. Nobody believed us. He believed. What's your grandson doing now? Community college, working nights to pay tuition, still dreams of being a teacher. The man's voice carries quiet pride. Your case gave him hope, showed him the system can work right when good people fight for it. Morrison feels something he hasn't experienced in years. Peace. Not the hollow satisfaction of revenge, but the warm certainty of purpose fulfilled. Tell your grandson the system belongs to him too, Morrison says. It's only broken when good people stop believing it can be fixed. The man shakes Morrison's hand with genuine gratitude. Thank you, Judge, for not giving up, for fighting back the right way. Morrison watches the sunset paint Memorial Park in golden light. The same light that illuminated his broken body 10 years ago now illuminates children playing safely. Full circle. Complete justice. His phone buzzes with a text from his law clerk. New case assignment. Police brutality, civil rights suit. 3 officers. 3 sets. Multiple victims. Familiar pattern. Morrison types back quickly. Schedule preliminary hearing. Time to get back to work. The park fills with evening joggers, dog walkers, couples holding hands, normal people living normal lives in a place where normalcy was once impossible. A young police officer approaches Morrison's bench. Fresh uniform, nervous energy. The kind of rookie who still believes badges represent service instead of power. Judge Morrison? Officer Williams, Central Division. I wanted to thank you. Morrison looks up with interest. For what? The new training program, constitutional rights, de-escalation techniques, community engagement. Williams sits down carefully. They're teaching us to be police officers, not occupying forces. That's how it should be. My father was a cop. Retired last year rather than adapt to new standards. Williams stares at his hands. He said policing used to be simpler. Us versus them. Black and white. What do you think? I think simple was just another word for wrong. Williams stands. The badge means something now. Something good. Morrison watches the young officer walk away. Hope in uniform. The system healing itself, one officer at a time. His phone rings. Federal Prosecutor Catherine Mills. Judge, we've had developments in the Rodriguez network investigation. 17 additional officers. 6 more victims willing to testify. This could be the largest police corruption case in state history. Schedule it, Morrison says without hesitation. Justice doesn't retire just because one case ends. The call ends. Morrison sits quietly in gathering darkness. Stars emerge overhead. The same stars that witnessed his near-death 10 years ago now watch his peaceful reflection. A jogger passes his bench. Then another. The park stays active after sunset now. Federal grants installed better lighting. Community patrols provide safety. People reclaimed their public spaces from fear and corruption. Morrison stands slowly. His expensive suit has been replaced by simple jeans and a button-down shirt. Off-duty judge. Regular citizen. Survivor who chose healing over hatred. He walks toward his car with steady steps. Tomorrow brings new cases, new opportunities for justice, new chances to prove that broken systems can be rebuilt with patience, integrity, and unwavering commitment to truth. Rodriguez begins his first night of a 20-year federal sentence. Brooks counts days in her 8-year commitment to consequences. Martinez starts her new job as a civilian court clerk, grateful for second chances. The system continues. Imperfect, but improving. Broken, but not beyond repair. Human institutions serving human needs with human flaws and human hopes. Morrison drives home through streets patrolled by officers who've learned that protect and serve means everyone. Every neighborhood. Every citizen. Every person who believes justice exists for those brave enough to demand it. The gavel waits patiently on his courthouse bench. Tomorrow's cases, tomorrow's chances, tomorrow's justice. Some scars heal completely. Others become sources of strength. All of them tell stories worth preserving. The arc of justice bends slowly, but it always bends toward truth.